And welcome back. Welcome back to News Center. Let's continue with our coverage. And let me just get the views of Njogu Barua, who is a former Gishugu Member of Parliament. Njogu, we have IEBC. Yesterday, they came out of this, workshop smiling, saying that everything is now okay. That is after they had a Catholic bishop, a motivational speaker, and a management consultant speak to them. What do you think of how fast was that? I mean, considering the issues, the fundamental issues that were raised by Chebukati in that memo to Chiloba, and then right now, they come out and say, everything seems to be okay. Is that cosmetic?
I think that's a straight question. I can say most likely it's cosmetic. And it's after realization that they are the former team. Because IEBC is not Chebukati, it is not Chiloba, it is not any of the members. And I think they have come to the realization that whatever verdict will be made against IEBC will be affecting all of them as a team. So the best interest for them, it is the best interest for them to work as a team and conduct elections in a way that they redeem themselves.
But talking about redeeming themselves, surely, Njogu, after that memo that raised, serious issues about the August 8th poll, do you think that, where do you think Kenyans are right now in regards to just how they perceive this commission that needed 2 days to go and sort of come together and work in unity? Should we be having that from an electoral commission right now with just 34 days to the election?
I think, first and foremost, that memo was a bit unfortunate because it leaked to the public. But I think it's an experiment that failed. It's an experiment whereby Chebukati wanted to clear himself of all blame and heap it on the Secretariat. But now that's reached the way it's reached now, and people have expressed themselves differently, I think they have decided to handle it in-house. The verdict on Kevoito Commission is still fresh in their mind. Those people are verified even long after they are left office. These guys, the Supreme Court made a clear pronunciation that IEBC did not conduct the elections to the required expectation or to the expectation as defined by the Constitution.
Right.
So it is not like the verdict of Supreme Court was against Jubilee or against NASA. It is actually the institution that was put at the center of it all. So what it is now is that that cosmetic smile was important because the blame is coming from both sides, from NASA and from Jubilee. If you look at the complaint that was launched by NASA, Chebukati was very quickly made changes even before consulting the other side. And then after doing that, they started getting bashing from Jubilee because it's like he was taking instructions from NASA.
You don't think he was acting independently?
I think
as the chair of the commission, he took charge and said,
I don't think
to make this change.
I think he was moving too fast, even before full consultations.
But that does not mean maybe he was getting.
I don't think he was doing, but he was actually acting piecemeal, taking directions from many corners. And for a credible IEBC, it is good for them to have consulted all the players before coming up to a solution. So now what is coming out from the minds of Kenyans is that IEBC is a shaky institution which can be compromised. And they must be put on the watch for us to get what we can call credible, free and fair and verifiable elections.
All right. So shortly I'll be speaking to Jack Tuma, who's a former ECK commissioner. But going back to the Supreme Court ruling, do you think that the judges maybe should have gone a bit further and said that, fine, we saw these irregularities and illegalities about this election, and this is what we also think should happen with this commission? Because they made a pronouncement, but it's like they left us in limbo. We don't know, okay, so does the same commission which committed all these malpractices still be the one to conduct another fresh election?
First and foremost, I want to say state again that the Jubilee abides by the decision but does not agree with the decision. Because the thing is, the Supreme Court did not disagree on the votes, the number of votes that were cast for Uhuru Kenyatta or NASA. Uhuru Kenyatta got 8.2 million votes, and NASA got the other, I don't know how many, 6 points?
Coming back to my question.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sorry?
Yeah, coming back to the question.
Yes, again.
Yes. What I'm asking you is, do you think the Supreme Court should have gone further?
It should have gone further because even the dissenting judges, Joki Dongo and Jack Todo Juang, they made deeper insights when they are making their dissenting decision. So it could have also been important for Maranga himself at that particular time tell Kenyans how and why they arrived at that decision. So by not doing that, it means that they kept Kenyans in a limbo, and they don't think that decision was actually judicial. They think the decision was, most of Kenya think that decision was more political than judicial.
Well, maybe, those are just, allegations or aspersions against
The allegations,
them.
yeah, but they are founded.
But my question, just going back to my question, is that the Supreme Court comes and says that IEBC committed these offenses. Do you think that they should have gone further to say that we think that Ezra Chiloba and Wafula Chebukati should not oversee this? Because it's like, they said they gave us a problem, but they left us, in the murky waters still.
I think the Supreme Court should have gone further to say the offenses that were committed in the process, so that you can be able to map them on individual people who are responsible. Then you take respective action. Because if somebody has committed an electoral offense, he or she should not be allowed to oversee the elections of the repeat elections.
All right.
Now, the fact that the Supreme Court did not tell us who committed what offense, it is also not possible for anybody to victimize anybody or say somebody should step aside or not, because there was a general pronunciation which cannot be narrowed to an individual. The other thing is time frame. The Supreme Court said they are going to do it in 21 days. 21 days after the date of judgment, which was on 1st.
Yes, it's 1st of
It will be
September.
too near to the October 17th date. So it may not be practically possible to make those changes and still have new people come and conduct an election.
All right.
So I think the Supreme Court did Kenya a disservice by not telling us in good time exactly what was wrong with the election, and even making proposals on what should be done to make corrective action for a better general election.
All right. Thank you very much, Njogu Barua. He's a former Gishugu Member of Parliament. I also want to bring in my good ECK former Commissioner, Jack Tumo, Ambassador Jack Tumo. Thank you for joining us. He's joining us by way of phone. Ambassador, let me start by getting your reaction in regards to yesterday IBC coming out and saying that, they've been able to bury the hatchet and now they can, focus on the October 17th date. What do you think of that with just 2 days that they had during the workshop or retreat to come together? Do you feel like indeed that was a genuine pronouncement that everything is now okay within the commission?
Betty, thank you for having me. As always, I always say every time I come to KTN, I want to talk as a Wanjigu of Kenya.
Yes.
Because that is what I am. Well, I want to believe that what the IEBC did yesterday was the most reasonable thing to do, because the court ruled, directed, that they have to conduct elections within these short 60 days. And they have to get every article to get together to get informed so that they can organize a free, fair, and credible election. So for them to do that and follow the directives as given by the court, they had no option but to come together. I think I want to compliment them for that. They are in a hole. And they say when you are in a hole, you don't continue digging. You have to find a way of coming out. So that they have decided to find a way of coming out, I compliment them for that position.
All right. Do you think that, this retreat or workshop that they had was really able also to give them a better framework of how to conduct this upcoming election on October 17th?
I don't think the 2 days, the 2-day workshop was enough for them to work out all the details. Because I say IEBC knew exactly what is expected of them as by law, as by constitution. So I want to look at the Naivasha workshop as coming up to bring, to put aside the differences that have come afore and the differences that would make it impossible for them to conduct an election. It is as a ceasefire. And that ceasefire, in my view, is necessary. That ceasefire is important because what Wanjiku is looking for is the 17th, when these people are expected to pull together and give Kenyans a free and fair election.
All right. I want us to talk a bit about that memo that leaked from Wafula Chebukati to Ezra Chiloba. And really, it contained some very serious allegations against the Secretariat about just how they conducted the elections. Looking forward, I mean, into the October 17th election, do you feel, because Wafula Chebukati came out and said yesterday that, you know, everything now is okay and Ezra Chiloba is fit enough to actually conduct this upcoming fresh presidential election. Do you think that that was honest? Because that memo really raised serious and fundamental issues to do with just how, you know, the commission, conducted the last election.
That memo, my understanding is that memo was an internal document.
Yes.
I have no information as who leaked it to the media for it to create the thinking that we are now having in public. But be that as it may, that memo, if you read it properly, it is a reflection of the court ruling, the brief that were given in the court. We are waiting for the detailed judgment, which will give us position to understand, as Mr. Njogu has said in the studio, that the court should have told us who did what. I really don't think the court had the time. And Mr. Njogu, having been in Parliament, there are some of the people to blame because I think the court asked that they will extend the time from the current 14 days to 30 days, and the Parliament that has gone out rejected that. So owing to the pressure of time, I don't expect that the court would have had sufficient time and resources to go and do the investigation. So we are waiting to see exactly what is going to come out, the full judgment. That full judgment may give us some direction. I don't believe that they come and tell us so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. But going back to the IEBC itself, perhaps within this short time, they may have to, they know, I'm sure they know exactly who was handling what aspect of the election. And they should know within themselves that those same people committed irregularities and illegalities as contained in the judgment from the court. So it is within them, having built a teamwork like they did yesterday, to say, we think you are the one who did this. They may not have sufficient information, but they have to put some of those people who are supposed to have committed those irregularities, committed those illegalities aside so that we can have people, because, Betty, we are looking forward as Kenyans. Me, I don't care who comes in to lead, so long as he has gone in without any of these irregularities, without any of these illegalities. IEBC, as it is today, I think one can say with a fair justification that it is divided, it is polarized, and it is because of we people outside, the parties, the tribes, the groups, which want to pull these people all aside. And it's going to be very difficult if the IEBC does not close its ears and eyes from these people outside.
Right.
There is consultation, I accept. And consultation is important. It is in our laws that they have to consult. But the final decision, we have to leave it to the IEBC. We have to recognize the fact that we have got a chairman, we've got commissioners, and we've got the secretariat. Let us give them an opportunity to organize themselves. Let's not start doubting or casting aspersion to this or the other. It is going to be very difficult for these people to go to contact to prepare for elections when they are being shot from left, right, and center.
But at the same time, Ambassador, I mean, Kenyans trusted the IEBC before August 8 that they would conduct a credible, free, and verifiable election. According to the Constitution, that did not happen. So how sure are we that moving forward to October 17th, IEBC will actually conduct the same, even after listening to Justice David Maraga and what he had to say about, just how the Commission conducted itself on August 8th? How sure are we that we'll not find ourselves in the same situation after October 17th with the Commission as still is?
But we can't be sure, but the consequences are too severe for them to do anything to the contrary. Right now, unlike the past, individual officers of the IEBC are held responsible, individually held responsible for the do's and the don'ts of the IEBC. And I think the courts have demonstrated that they are prepared to go a further step to ensure that justice is done and it is seen to be done. So any person in the IEBC, whether it is a clerk down there or up there, would be foolish to do anything that may be interpreted as irregular or illegal, because it is him who will face the fire. I've said this many times, and I want to repeat, that IEBC should know that neither NASA nor Jubilee will come to their help when they are in fire. They will burn, and they will burn alone. So now the only thing that can defend them, the only pillar that they can stand on and ensure they do it right is the law, is the Constitution of Kenya. If they can focus on that and ensure that whatever they do, they read the Constitution properly, they read the laws of Kenya properly, we should be able to get a fair election.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Ambassador Jack Tumo. They're speaking to us by your phone, just commenting about IEBC. And, yesterday they wound up the workshop that they started on Sunday evening. And they've come out to say, as Wachifula Chebukati put it, that, everything now is at bay, that they've buried the hatchet, and now they're ready to work together. Just various reactions, really, that I've come across in regards to that. We'll be focusing on that here on the show as we continue with our coverage.